Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're going to tackle a massive topic, artificial intelligence. So for a minute, let's just cut through all the sci-fi hype, okay? We're going to get right to the core of what AI actually is, how it works, and maybe most importantly, how you're already using it every single day. So let's kick things off with a number that is, honestly, it's kind of hard to even get your head around. 2.5 quintillion. That's a 2 and a 5 with 17 zeros after it. And that is how many bytes of data we as humans are creating every single day. It's staggering.
So that raises a pretty massive question, right? How on earth do we make sense of all that information? Our brains just can't keep up. Well, that's exactly where AI comes into the picture. It's the tool we've built to find the patterns and the meaning that's hidden inside that absolute storm of data.
All right, so what is AI really? To get a super clear picture, we're going to build the definition together, piece by piece, starting from the very basics.
First up, let's go way back to basics. What's a machine? Well, at its absolute core, it's just a piece of equipment that we humans designed to do a specific job for us. Could be anything from a simple lever to, a really complex car engine.
Okay, now let's get a little more specific. A computer is a special kind of electronic machine. Its job isn't to lift or move physical things, but to manage information. It stores it, it organizes it, and it even tells other machines what to do.
And now, for the other half of our term, intelligence. When we talk about natural intelligence, we're really just talking about the skills we see in ourselves and in animals. The ability to learn from experience, to reason through a problem, and to figure things out. It's the smarts that nature gave us.
So you put those two ideas together and what do you get? Artificial intelligence. It's really that simple. We're taking those smarts we just talked about, learning, problem solving, and we're building them into a machine, into a computer.
And believe it or not, this is not a new idea. The dream of a thinking machine, it goes way, way back. You had pioneers like Alan Turing laying the groundwork in the 40s and 50s. But the real key moment, the turning point, was in 1956 when the term artificial intelligence was officially born. That one event kicked off decades of research that led right to the powerful AI we have today.
The guy who actually coined that term was John McCarthy, who's pretty much known as the father of AI. And this quote from him back in 1955 just perfectly captures the core belief of the entire field, that intelligence itself, in all its messy, amazing forms, could one day be understood so well that we could build a machine to simulate it.
Okay, this brings us to a really, really important distinction we have to make, because the AI you see in the movies is completely different from the AI that actually exists in our world today. So let's break down the reality versus the science fiction.
And here it is. This is the key difference. All the AI we have today, every single bit of it, is what we call narrow AI. It can be incredibly, incredibly good at one specific task. But what we don't have is general AI. The sci-fi version with a brain that can think and reason and learn about pretty much anything, just like a human. That stuff, that's still firmly in the future.
Now, narrow does not mean simple. Not at all. Think about your digital assistant or the technology that recognizes faces in your photos. Even a self-driving car, which seems unbelievably smart, is still a narrow AI. It's a world-class expert at one thing, driving, but it can't learn how to do anything else.
So you might be wondering, if these machines aren't thinking like we do, how do they get so ridiculously good at their jobs? Well, that brings us to the engine that powers pretty much all modern AI, something called machine learning.
So, machine learning is a specific field inside of AI, and honestly, it's based on this totally radical idea. The idea is, instead of a human writing endless lines of computer code to tell a machine exactly what to do step by step, we just let the computer figure it out for itself by learning from huge amounts of data. Just look at this, it shows the difference perfectly. With old-school programming, a human writes the rules. You feed in the data and you get an answer. Machine learning completely flips that on its head. You give the machine the data and the answers you want, and it works backward to figure out the rules all by itself. It literally writes its own program. It's incredible.
And it turns out machines can learn in a few different ways. With supervised learning, you give it neatly labeled data. It's kind of like studying for a test with an answer key. With unsupervised learning, you just give it a huge jumble of data, like a mixed bag of fruit, and it has to find the patterns on its own. And then there's reinforcement learning, which is a lot like training a dog with treats. It learns by getting rewards for doing the right thing.
Okay, so we've covered the theory, right? But here's the most amazing part. This isn't some far-off future technology anymore. It is completely woven into the fabric of our daily lives. You're using some seriously advanced AI every single day, and you probably don't even realize it.
I mean, just think about it for a second. When Google Maps predicts traffic and finds you a faster route, that's machine learning analyzing real-time data. The spam filter in your email? Yep, that's an AI that has learned to spot junk mail. When Facebook recognizes your friend's face in a photo, or Uber tells you exactly when your car will arrive, that is all AI in action.
So, how does an idea like, say, let's build a better spam filter, turn into a real AI tool you can use? Well, it's not magic, it's actually a really clear step-by-step engineering process. Let's take a quick look at how these projects actually come to life.
Pretty much every AI project follows these 5 stages. First, you have to clearly define the problem you're trying to solve. Second, you have to get your hands on a ton of really good, high-quality data. Third, you've got to clean all that data up so the machine can understand it. Fourth is the modeling stage. This is the fun part, where the AI actually learns from the data. And finally, you have to evaluate it. You test it over and over again to make sure it's actually reliable and accurate. Which really brings us to our final thought for today. We've seen how AI has gone from this science fiction idea into a real practical tool that we all use. But it's not stopping. It's going to keep evolving, getting more capable, and becoming even more integrated into our lives. And that leaves us with a really profound question to think about. As AI continues this journey, from being just a tool to becoming something more like a partner, how will we, all of us, choose to shape that shared future?